Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing okay. Give me just a second. Make sure that I pop in. There I go. There I go. It's Cutler here, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler. Let's spend these 1,800 seconds together every Tuesday. And it is my hope for those of you who are joining for the first time, in case you're wondering, what is this platform about? What is this guy we're talking about? It is always my hope that I offer something that's inspirational, something that's motivational, something that challenges us to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Isn't that some guidance and some nudging that we can always use? Make sure you show up your best self, even in the worst of situations. Life happens, it does what it does. There's some things that are not in our control, some things we can't do anything about. But one of the things we can handle is how we respond. So it is my goal to have conversations that make it second nature for us to show up our best self, even in the worst of situations. Make it our desire and our intention to want to show up. That's where it starts. Do you want to show up your best self? Sometimes people just don't care how they show up. They can just show up messy, they can show up raggedy, and they don't care. They are sometimes okay with that. But that's not how you and I interact. That's not how you and I exchange. That's not how you and I show up. That's not how you and I be. That's not how you and I function from day to day. It is my hope, it is my goal that we want to show up our best self, even in the worst of situations. Let's see what's going on here. Listen, my laptop wants to start, and I'm going to keep telling it wants to restart. I'm going to tell it, no, don't restart, because I'm in the middle. People coming here, let's talk to Cutler. I'm here to let's talk to Cutler. But I hope y'all having a good day. And again, we want to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And so for those of you who are just stopping by for the first time, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And after you subscribe, do me another favor and click on the notification button wherever it is on your device. I don't know where it is, but wherever it may be on your device, go ahead and click on it, because it lets you know whenever I've gone live, whenever I've uploaded new content. And as you're coming to the chat, I see some of you are online, but you haven't made your way to the chat room just yet. Come on into the chat room, say hello, say good evening, say hi to everybody, say good afternoon, just wish people well. And while I'm talking about wishing people well, I want to do a shout out to the LTTC VIPs this evening. Those are the Let's Talk to Cutler people that I see who've shown up in the chat first. It's the first three people. Now again, don't y'all get upset with me. I'm just telling you what I see on my end. So the first three people that I see on my end are Lynn Gardner, who says good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you as well, Lynn. And then there's Annie Cutler, who signs over her signature mantra, let's ride. And then there is Linda Martin, who signs in and says, good evening, all. I love it when we just show up and we say hello to everybody, and you feel relaxed. Many of us have never met each other, and we're at different places in the world, we're at different places in the country, but we come together, we spend this time because we're just real people having real conversations. And sometimes those conversations are born out of my transparent moments. I don't know how many of these I can continue to have, because some of them are transparent, but no, I'm joking. They really are not embarrassing. You just have to take life for what it is. Sometimes you have to take life by both horns and just hang on and do what you can, because again, there's some things that you just can't do anything about. And that's the beauty of the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change. Stop. Grant me the peace of mind, the ability to settle into life. And grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. But then would you give me the courage to change the things that I can? Give me that fortitude, give me that tenacity, give me that wherewithal to change the things. Let me square my shoulder and face bravely the things that I can do something about. The courage to change the things that I can. So would you give me serenity? Would you give me courage? And then would you give me wisdom to know the difference between the two, the things that I can change and the things that I can. Sometimes we operate in a vacuum because we operate in a space of not knowing, and we're trying to change things that we have no power to control, that we have no power or authority to even try to change. So again, here we are talking about life. And this evening, I really want to talk about how to be more patient. Where does that come from? It comes from the fact, you all, that I had an appointment today, and I called ahead. And as I was making the appointment, I said to the person on the other end of the phone, listen, it is my goal and my hope to get there and not have to spend any more than 20 or 30 minutes maximum. That's all I want to do. It was a matter of me just going someplace, making a transaction, getting something and leaving. And I said, I don't want to be there any longer than 20 or 30 minutes. You all let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how patient are you? Put it in the chat. Please put it in the chat. This is a no judgment zone. This is, what happens here, it stays here. We, as the saying goes, we listen and we don't judge. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not very patient and 10 being extremely patient, would you rate your level of patience on a scale of 1 to 10? Rate your level of patience. 1 being not patient at all, 10 being extremely patient. Because what I realized, and here's my transparent moment, it depends for me on the situation, how patient I'm going to be. If I'm talking about dealing with, and I'll comment on these in just a moment, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how patient are you? I'll let you all go ahead and put your numbers in. I see them popping in, but the rest of you, please put your numbers in. But I'm telling you all, I discovered that it depends for me on the situation. If I'm dealing with, as an educator, I'm extremely patient. So in the classroom, in the classroom, I am extremely patient with my students, always have been, whether it's in my professional setting where I'm in the university classroom, I'm extremely patient. I am probably, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably an 11 or 12 when it comes to being patient with my students. Many of you know that I taught and teach a Sunday school or Bible study. When it comes to those students, I am probably a 10 or 11 as well. But in life, out of those settings, I am not the most patient person in the world. I have to say this to y'all. I am not the most patient person in the world. For example, if I'm hungry and I'm going someplace and I get there and there's a line, oh my goodness, I will just leave and just go somewhere else. I am not very patient. If I'm doing something for leisure, and it probably has to do with how I feel physically. If I don't feel my best, then I tend to be a little less patient. Linda says this segment has my name on it. Patience, you all, it really is a virtue. And again, no harm, no foul, no judgment. I see scores coming in of 6, 3, 4, 9, 7s. But people who know me would tell you, oh, he seems so very patient. And again, with people, I can be extremely patient. But sometimes if I'm operating in a vacuum by myself and I know it's not affecting anybody else, then I am not the most patient person in the world. But if I'm with someone and we're going out to eat and we've made reservations and then we get there, or if we don't make reservations and we get there and they tell us it's going to be like a 30, 35, 45-minute wait, then I'm telling you, as soon as I hit 45 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, no, I can go somewhere else. Let me just go get a hamburger and fries and a cup of water, because I'm not that hungry or that pressed to eat here that I just have to sit here 45 minutes and wait. No. And I know people who would do that. I am not one of them unless I'm with somebody else and I go, oh, okay, all right, let me compromise. Couple you with somebody else, just learn how to compromise. I'm giving scenarios, you all, to test patience. In traffic, because I really can't do anything about it. If I find myself sitting in traffic, I become annoyed, but I can't do anything about it. But if traffic is moving and I can see my way to get through and I'm trying to get someplace, then again, I'm not the most patient person. I'm a very safe driver, but I tell you, I would dodge through traffic. You all don't leave me here by myself, but I would duck and dodge through traffic. Now, I know some of us are not patient with people. I'm not always I, I'm not always patient with people when they show themselves to be foolish. Now, so that's outside of the classroom. That's outside of me teaching Bible study or Sunday morning a scriptural study or Bible study, Sunday school. So outside of those settings, when people show themselves to be foolish, I am not patient. I'm not tolerant. No, I'm not. And maybe I need to work on it. You all talk to me. What do you think? Is that something that I need to work on? Do I need to work on being a little more patient with people who are just not, sometimes who just don't seem to be there? There's this saying, people say they don't suffer fools well. And I don't want to say that to call people fools, but I don't suffer foolishness well. And foolishness for me is something that does not align with my core values, that does not align with my principles, does not align with the things that are important to me. And when things don't line up with things that are important to me, I have low patience, low tolerance. I just don't have the wherewithal to deal with that or to sit in that space when it's completely inapposite to who I am and to how I show up and to how I be. I just don't. So you all, listen, you all send out some good thoughts and wishes for a brother, because I struggle in those areas. But again, in certain areas, I can be so patient. But again, I made an appointment today and I said to the gentleman, when I get there, I want to make this transaction. After I make this transaction, I want to grab my product, grab my good, and just leave. As it turned out, you all, what should have been 30 minutes turned into 3 hours. 3 hours. Do you all hear me? 3 hours. And I sat there and I was just in my seat, moving slightly from side to side. And I thought about when my older brothers and I were younger, we were boys, and my mother could tell us, sit there and don't move. And can I tell you, we would not move. Now, we may have become just a little fidgety somehow, doing this or twiddling our fingers, but we could sit there and we would not move. So if mama had gone shopping and she told us to sit right here, do not move, we sat there and we didn't move. People say, they would get punished and all that. Mom didn't have to do that for us, because we learned. There's a scripture that says, "In patience possess ye your souls." We knew nothing about that. We knew that if we were not patient, if we were not behaved, then the outcome wouldn't be so good. But today, I was moving, because what should have been 30 minutes turned into 3 hours. And I was not the most patient person. I finally said, I tell you what, I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to grab something to eat, because there was a mall nearby. Let me just go over here to the mall, grab something to eat, call it a day. And when you're done and you're ready for me, let me know, and then I'll come back. It can be difficult. It can be so difficult sometimes to be patient, you all. And I don't know where it comes from. But patience can be such a challenge for so many people. And I see by the 3s and the 4s and these that I am not alone. In certain areas, we are challenged with our patience, particularly when things are meaningful and important to us. It can be difficult, to be patient for so many reasons. One is just our natural desire for immediate gratification. Give me what you're going to give me now. Let me feel immediate gratification, because that's what I want to feel. That's what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fast pace of life where it is now. I think a lot of it has to do with the stress and the anxiety that can feel like we ought to be able to do things instantly. We ought to be able to do things in a hurry, or we have to do things in a hurry. We can't wait. You just need to keep going. We want things to happen now. We want it to happen right away. We want it to happen yesterday. But it seems like where we are, the culture pushes us into a lack of patience. It's just this the need for immediate, instant gratification, happiness, satisfaction. We have that need and that desire. We want it when we want it now, and that can cause us to be so impatient. It really can. It can cause us to become so impatient. Oh, me? You mean I have to wait? What? Who? I have to wait? Y'all tell me if I'm not alone. What does this mean? So I could possibly run into a delay? Oh no. And so it pushes us into the space of impatience. And I don't think it's just the need itself for immediate gratification or instant gratification, but I really think our culture, our society has a lot to do with it because we're moving fast. We're just in this fast-paced society. Things are moving fast. People are moving swiftly. Time is filled with swift transitions, all those sorts of things. And modern life is just characterized by speed and efficiency. And we're accustomed to quick communication now. We're accustomed to quick getting our food, microwave. We're accustomed to being able to transmit and transfer information and data and all that kind of stuff. We're used to being able to go in a line, get what you need, and get out. Go through the express lane for this. And even when you're traveling on the highway, oh, let me get in the express lane if I'm driving, or I mean, just all that. Or let me, if I'm traveling by air, let me make sure that I already got in the pre-check process. I'm in the pre-check programs. I don't have to stand in that long line. Better, no, good for them. They can stand in there. And we do all of that because it is just this fast-paced society. And that can make it so much harder for us to be patient. So the instant gratification, yeah, but society itself teaches us to become impatient. I mean, walking through the airport and you have the moving sidewalk, or what I call the flat escalator. Well, escalator means it would go up, but it is a moving sidewalk. And we're just moving fast, and you got your luggage and you're going fast, and you hop on the moving sidewalk. And when you hop on the moving sidewalk, God forbid if you find somebody on the moving sidewalk who's not moving. Excuse me, can you all move to the right, please? Can you just move over because I'm passing on the left? I'm passing on the left. And when people are sitting there and they're just standing there, you were moving, and all of a sudden it just wrecks your nerves. Or what happens when the moving sidewalk is not working? You're just going, you got off one moving sidewalk and you're walking, and all of a sudden you get to the next one and you just think the world has stopped. Isn't that amazing? We're in this fast-paced society that teaches us not to be patient. Teaches us not to be patient. Sometimes when we feel with stress and with anxiety and we're feeling overwhelmed, even in those moments, it can be harder to be patient. Because impatience is really sometimes a symptom, an underlying symptom of anxiety. And I'm feeling overwhelmed, and there's no way that I can be patient. Jay Song for you said, let's not mention when you're at a stoplight and the light turns green before you can take your foot off the brake. Cars are behind you blowing because you are not moving fast. Because you are not moving fast enough. Thank you, Jay Song, for you. Not only that, but then as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator, if you are sometimes an impatient person, and then you gun it. You press that accelerator, and when you gun it and you go maybe half a block to the next light and it's red. So you just went 70 miles per hour to get to the next light. Society teaches us not to be patient. And what does that come from? I think one of the places where that may come from is this whole fear of missing out. If I don't get there early, I'm going to miss out. If I don't get there on time, I'm going to miss out. If I don't get there when I want to get there, I'm going to miss out. We have this fear of missing out on something. We worry about being left behind. We worry about not getting what we think somebody else is going to get. And it causes us to have this anxiety. It leads to this sense of urgency. I've got to get there. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss anything. I have a friend who would go to the movies and say, listen, I'm going to go there and I'm going to skip. I don't want to get there to watch all the previews. I'll get there when the movie is going to start. And I would think, no, I can't do that. I need to get there, not because I'm going to miss out on something. Here comes my transparency kicking in, you all. I need to get a good seat. Because if you know anything about me, and I'll tell you all this, I don't like to sit in the middle of people. Nobody says anything. Don't say a word. If you all know me and you're online, don't say anything about that. But I don't like to sit in the middle of people. So one of the things I would do, I would try to arrive early so I can plot where, and I can decide where am I going to sit so I can be strategic. There have been times, and I'm just going to tell on myself. There have been times I'm going to tell this. There have been times when I've gone to a theater, I've gone to a production, I've gone to a play, I've gone to a recital, I've gone to places, and I will purchase the seats on either side of me because I just don't like to sit in the middle of people. And so I need to make sure I get there so I can sit. I mean, I try to buy my seats, but most of the time, but then I'll get to where I'm going, and I just need to see what's going on. I really do. And so I just but that too is a part of patience. And so I need to get there so I can develop my comfort in that space. That's just me. It's not the fear of missing out, but for me, it's a part of just needing to get there. And if I'm traveling with someone and they don't feel that urgency like I do, oh my God, then my anxiety just goes from 0 to 10 in 3 seconds. But I think another reason why we are not patient, and you all talk to me, why are you not patient? Particularly those people who rank themselves as 3s and 4s. Why are you all not patient? But I think not only do we have this fear of missing out, but I think sometimes there can be just this, here we go, this lack of trust in whatever process we find ourselves. Sometimes we don't trust the process. Sometimes we question the route, the way, the modus operandi. We question that a lot of times, and we don't trust the process. And I get it. In this climate, this day and age, there are a lot of processes that you justifiably don't trust. I get that. But in terms of talking about patience and developing patience, sometimes we just don't trust the process. We don't even trust the possible outcome, which can make it difficult for us to be patient and then wait for the results. In other words, you may have 2 or 3 options and none of them look good. So in your mind, you can't trust the process, you can't trust the outcome. So now you are immediately anxious, you are immediately overwhelmed, and your patience just goes through the roof. Sometimes it's difficult. It is difficult. And I'm supposed to only be for 1,800 seconds. I want to talk about how to develop more patience, but I'm really talking about why we lack patience. I think another reason, and I'll let it go, but I think one of the reasons why we lack patience is because of what the media has done. Social media, work, technology, all those things that have created pressures on us to respond quickly. Do it immediately. Do it efficiently. Do it spontaneously. Be impromptu. Just get it done. And that can make it hard for you to practice patience, because patience says, I need to settle into it. I need to be able to exhale. I need to be able to process it. I need to be able to sit in the moment. And that's what I want to talk about for these next few moments, y'all. After we've discovered why it's difficult for us to become patient, you all talk to me in the chat. Why is it difficult? Why do you find it difficult for you to be patient? Because as we're talking about that, I want to spend these next few moments talking about how can we be more patient? Because the good news is this: you can learn to be more patient. Linda says you get to the doctor's office early. They take you to the exam room right away. Then, oh, Linda, absolutely, cousin. You get to the doctor's office right away. They take you to the exam room right away. You get to the doctor's office early. They take you to the exam room right away. And then it seems like it takes forever for the doctor to come in. I mean, it does. And then they say, you shouldn't be on your phone. You shouldn't be doing this. I have, and I'm telling you all, I have stepped to that door and said, excuse me. They know me at my doctor's. Excuse me, is Dr. So-and-so ready? Is Dr. So-and-so even here? What is going on? Because after 10, 15 minutes, I'm sitting in that room and I had an appointment and now I'm sitting here. Listen, you've taken my vitals. You've done all this. I'm not going to get any taller. You've taken you've taken my blood pressure. You've done all of this, my temperature, all this kind of stuff. Oh, Linda, yeah, you just struck a response. You got a responsive chord, because absolutely, that's one of the places where I really, really lose patience. And I'll say, listen, you should have just made me an appointment for later if you knew the doctor's going to be late. It's one, I mean, every single time. Oh, calm down. All right, Cutler. But how to be more patient, you all? We really can learn to be more patient. But I'm telling you this, as much as I've tried to practice it, it is one of those skills that takes time. It's going to take time. You've got to work through those tough moments when you have to do what? Rewire your thinking. A lot of times, and I say this in some other settings, we have to unlearn some of the things we've learned. Right? We have to unlearn. Marissa says, just last week I was waiting for an hour and went to sleep and waiting on the doctor. I'm telling y'all, those sorts of things will just drive you bonkers, will just drive you bananas. But let's talk about how to develop more patience. And again, it's a skill that requires rewiring. It's almost like you have to unlearn some of the things that you've learned. Because if your patience is already thin, Lord help us, then learning to be patient. You all see where I'm going with this? If you are already on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're already anything below a 6, and learning to try and be more patient, let me say this: you're just going to find yourself what is the word? A classic case. You're going to be the quintessential study case for trying to learn patience. But you really, really can, you all. And I suggested this earlier. Cutler, how do we learn patience? After you talked about all of the reasons why we find it difficult to be patient, how do we learn patience? One of the ways that we learn patience, you all, is to practice mindfulness, which means you learn how to be in the moment. Be mindful of who you are. Be mindful of where you are. Be mindful of how you are. Be in the moment without judging. I know it sounds simple. It sounds easy to do. But if you practice it, it can be a challenge, but it really will pay off. And you can pay attention to what you're doing. You can pay attention to how you show up. You can pay attention to how you use your hands when you speak, how loudly you talk, what nonverbal communication you're using. Are you nodding your head up and down? Are you shaking your head to the right? Are you widening your eyes when you talk to people? Be mindful, and you can learn to practice patience. Let it start with you. It can be a challenge to pay attention to everything that you're doing. And I think for me, because I'm concerned about the impact that my communication has on other people, I'm really mindful of how I talk. So very mindful. Whether I'm moving my head, shaking my head, whether I'm using other parts of my body to be expressive. Particularly my hands. I'm tall, I have long limbs. So I'm mindful of me and mindful of how I communicate. And that's what I'm suggesting. Start with you, start with yourself, and make sure you are mindful. So practice mindfulness. Lynn says, I don't know if I can learn. I would get overwhelmed. There's too much happening at one time. Lynn, here's an easy step, my friend. Start with you. Don't try to absorb anything else around you other than you. Be mindful of how you're talking. Am I talking? Are my hands on my hips when I talk? Is my head tilted to the left or tilted to the right when I talk? Am I holding my head down, looking up with a furrow in my forehead when I talk to people? Learn to be mindful without judging yourself, and don't overanalyze you so much to the point that you lose track of your communication. Now, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting get caught up to the point that you can't communicate, but be mindful. Practice mindfulness. And as you're practicing mindfulness, something else that you can do in terms of being patient, learn. I know that you all, Cutler, are you really going to say this again? Yeah, learn how to keep a journal, because a journal will remind you of how you showed up. It really will. It will remind you of how you showed up. It will remind you of when you showed up. And here's another thing, and I know I'm going to have to go, but let me just offer you these two things. Know what's in your control. There's some things, and I open with that. There's some things that are not in your control. Whether you're stuck in traffic and it's not moving, that's not in your control. You can't handle that. Even if you're going to be late for work, you can't handle that. Your patience can wear thin when you're in situations that you cannot control. Learn what's in your control. Learn what's in your control, because it can help you to recognize what you can and cannot change. Let me just offer you all one more. Thank you, Jason, for you say, hey, y'all, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button before you leave. There's only one thumbs up, and I am claiming that one. Oh, my goodness. But let me offer this one. There was a whole lot. Let me offer this one, and then I have to go. Learn how to build your tolerance for discomfort. Everything in life is not going to be comfortable. Every decision is not going to be easy. Every hurdle is not going to be easily overcome. There are going to be some things in your life that seem difficult, some things that are just they're going to seem insurmountable. But learn how to build your tolerance for a place of discomfort, because if you can learn how to build your tolerance for a place of discomfort, then little setbacks won't bother you. Big issues will arise and they will abrase you, but the little issues won't bother you so much. Get in the habit of maybe even just letting the car go in front of you every now and then. Just something small like that. You go slow enough and people start passing you. And it may be uncomfortable. But here is what I want you to know. You can learn to be okay in a space of discomfort. And when you learn to be okay in some spaces of discomfort, whether it's walking and people are passing you, whether it's in traffic and people are getting ahead of you, it does not matter. You're going into a fast food line and you decide, listen, let me just step to the side and let 3 people go ahead of me. You will learn to tolerate things, and then major setbacks won't seem so major. You're learning to practice patience. I hope I've said something that has helped somebody this evening, because you all know I'm just really trying to help save somebody's life. So do me a favor, y'all. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up. Let's keep our hopes up, and don't let people run you crazy. Let's stay safe and stay sane. Know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. And until the next time I see you, tell somebody else to come on and let's talk to Cutler, and make sure that you practice patience. Take care. Good night, everybody.